How to write a book. Copying other people's work.
So, Richard, as a nonfiction writer, somebody who has to actually put solid facts into your work, I would think that plagiarism and copywriting falls into play. How do you go about that?
Cool question, Kristen. And you know, when we were in school, our teachers were like constantly on the prowl for us copying other people's work. And really what it comes down to, first of all, is there's a rule in copyright law which is you cannot copyright an idea, only the manner in which it's being expressed. Am I making that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So a teacher has a problem with you going to an encyclopedia and copying word for word. They have a problem with you using another student's paper from 3 years ago. They have problems with that because, number one, you are copying somebody else's work. Number two, you're not showing that you actually have a handle on that particular subject. Do you see that?
Yes.
So it's not that the teacher is trying to bust you for not doing your job. The teacher is really saying, hey, if you have to copy somebody else's work, then you really don't understand this topic.
Right.
Do you see that?
Right.
So I'm going to use something simple like in my book, Keep Your Daughter Safe. It's a really good example to use in this particular case because it's a tips book. Virtually, there's the first 3 or 4 or 5 chapters deal with statistics and ramifications of the crimes, etc. But the second half of the book is tips, and literally tip number 1, 2, 3, 4, what to do in a parking lot, what to do when you're driving, all that kind of stuff. Now, somebody would say, well, Richard, those tips can be found anywhere. And the answer is, number one, they can't because part of them are a result of my background in law enforcement. Okay?
There we go.
But the second thing is that the way I express a lot of my ideas is even though they may be the exact same idea that somebody else is sharing somewhere else, they're expressed in a very different format. And it's interesting, Kristen, because when people are talking to me that have read my books, whatever the topic may be, they'll say, wow, Richard, it's like when I read the book, it's like I was talking to you. And I go, yeah.
They know it.
Yeah, I go, this is, I write how I speak. And so in dealing with nonfiction topics, it's still possible to put what you call your own voice into the book or into your words. It's when you're now all of a sudden not that familiar with the topic.
You're relying.
Right. Now you have to start copying other people's stuff.
Right.
And really there's 2 reasons you shouldn't be copying it. Again, it goes back to the whole teacher thing. The number 1 reason is if you have to copy somebody else's work, you shouldn't be doing the job. Right. You shouldn't be writing on that topic. We all have a book in us. We all have something that we can share with other people. We don't need to steal somebody else's stuff. Write about what you know. The second thing is, if you're copying somebody else's material, then the material is already out in the world. So really, if you're not going to add anything to it, then what's the use?
Sense, right.
But on that same topic is there's something called derivative. And derivative work is where you will look at somebody else's work and then write your own material on top of it. And it was funny because when I was attending Berkeley, I took a lot of units at one time, and there were times when I had so many units that I would actually pay somebody to write a paper for me, pay them to write the paper. But I would read through their paper, pull their ideas from the paper,
and then write it in your own words.
And rewrite the whole paper, all on my own. All I needed was an idea to kind of kickstart me because I was still familiar enough with the topic to be able to write my own paper. I just needed that kind of jump start. So derivative work is where you're actually reading somebody else's book and saying, hey, I can express this in a manner that people are going to get a better handle through my expression of the information than somebody else's, which is huge. Because somebody like me, I'm paid a lot of the times to make the complex very simple. And so when somebody pays me for that job, it holds value to do what I call derivative work. Oh, this is what somebody's talking about over here, but 99 people out of 100 can't understand it, so I'm going to move it down to a level that 90 people out of 100 can understand it. And that's derivative work. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, and it's completely within not only the copyright laws, but morally justifiable in terms of getting information out there that needs to be gotten out there. Did I answer all that question for you?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, cool.
How to write a book. copying other people's work. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more, please subscribe to our channel.